Where are you stuck in life? And this is going to be either in life or in your health. One of those two areas, or maybe you're stuck in several of those areas. I just got off with a patient, and we were going through this area that is a difficult point for them. And it's an area that causes anxiety, a lot of self doubt, a lot of frustration, tremendous amount of pain, stops them from really living. And we had the conversation of how tired they are about it and about it being there in their life, that it's been with them as long as they can remember. And they're tired of the pain and the limitation that it causes them. And they're acutely aware of it because of how their life suffers due to it. Their relationships, the relationship with their spouse, with her clients, with her child. And this is a recurrent theme that I see across all of us. I'm bumping up against one of my own limitations right now. But I want you to think about where you're limited. Again, in your health, in some situation, what that would look like is that you've got a recurrent health situation that is just with you. And maybe you're putting up with it right now, or you've been trying to find answers for it, but you cannot. You go see doctors, maybe you go see healers, but you're just not getting anywhere. Or in your life, that thing that holds you back, that invisible hand that stops you from being able to move forward. Let's take this video that you're watching right now, for example. Spent years trying to do things like this. Was never able to. Couldn't execute it. Couldn't get it done. Was incredibly frustrated with why I couldn't do it. Couldn't see that invisible thing holding me back. I could feel it and sense it because I would try and move forward. I would try and write a script. I would try and hit record. I would try and sit down here in front of the camera and do something and just couldn't do it. Then I would try and speak and it wouldn't come out and sound authentic in any way, shape, or form. And it would be something that I would be ashamed of to put out into the world. Those limitations stop so many of us from enjoying the health that we should have and stop us from enjoying and living the life that we should live. So I had a turning point in my life around this. Now, most of my life I grew up, I was in depression, anxiety, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. I didn't have my voice. There was nowhere that I felt like I could speak. There was no one to listen to me, to hear me, to help me work through things. And that turned into massive limitation that I don't know what I'm talking about. My voice isn't of value. What I have to say has no meaning. Angry at people. Angry at my parents especially. And in that stage of my life, it gave me broken friendships, loneliness, nightmares like crazy, suicidal thoughts. It resulted in divorce, business failure, foreclosure on a home, almost getting kicked out of a commercial space where my practice was. Thank you, Keeler and Company, for being so sympathetic and helping us out on that. And then a pivotal moment where I saw the right healers. Now, I say healers because in that part of my journey through the first 40 years plus of my life, I saw people, I saw therapists, I saw doctors, I saw, various different people trying to help me get out of it. None of them helped me. And I see that same pattern over and over and over. I hear it in my patients all the time. They come to me and they're like, I've tried medical and I'm exhausted by that. I can't do that anymore. I'm not getting any answers. I tried this person. I tried that person. No one's helping me. Why should you be any different? And that's the part that really bugs me because I lived in that. And so when my patients come to me, which again is the majority of people that find their way to me, they're living in that. And I hate seeing it because that part of my life was so incredibly painful, crappy. I just don't even have the words to describe what an absolute pain in the rear end that time of my life was. But luckily, I kept going and I found the right healer. Now, what I found first was I found what I'm going to call a functional nutritionist. And so this was somebody who took a look at me and took a look at the toxicity in my body, took a look at the strep virus or the strep bug that I was holding in my tonsils and my throat, my Epstein-Barr virus, my heavy metal, my chemical toxicity, took a look at the load and the wear that all of that was placing on my digestion, on my brain and on my nervous system and on my heart and my liver, and proceeded to work with me through diet and then specific supplements. Now, a lot of my patients go and take supplements. Okay, so this is not just going out and going, oh, that supplement sounds good, that marketing sounds good. It's functional nutrition in that the supplements were targeted for me and my need at that time that I needed to take them. And that's something that we'll get into in another video, but timing is vitally important. You can take, let's say you're going to do a heavy metal detox and you decide it's time. Well, what if your body isn't ready for that? You can do the heavy metal detox, take all the supplements, and it doesn't work. You don't get the results that you should get because it was the improper timing or the wrong time to do a heavy metal detox. Maybe you needed to focus on viruses and clearing out viruses out of your body, then focus on the heavy metal detox. Okay? So we were going along and I started to feel better overall in my health with my functional nutritionist. And then one day we had a conversation and she said, I think you should go see this person. And I was like, well, who's this? Well, this is an energy healer. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And she said she's going to clear up this stuff from you. She didn't tell me exactly what this stuff was, but just to clear it up. And I thought, well, she's helping me. I'm studying what she's doing and starting to incorporate that into, of course, my own life and into my practice for my patients with great results. And so I go and see this energy healer. And, I think she took a look at me and just went, this guy's a mess. And I was an absolute mess. So we sat down and we just started getting to work. And it was interesting. I don't remember us having conversations about what she was doing. I'm sure we did, but she could see I was in pain. I was deeply depressed. I was anxious. I was angry. I was frustrated. She sat opposite me while I reclined in a chair in her office. And for about a half an hour, she was just very concentrated. And she was holding her hands down towards the ground. And we'd talk a little bit and go through it. And as the appointment went on, I would feel more and more drained. I'd feel tired. And we'd go for about a half an hour. And then she'd say, okay, we're done. And I remember I didn't have a clue if anything even happened. Because imagine that you're just sitting there and somebody's holding their hands down towards the ground kind of in front of you and, focusing and looking away. And you could see they're doing something that's requiring effort of them. And you just start to feel tired. That was me. But what did I have to lose? Nothing was working. I was still trying to find my way out of everything, all the crap that I was feeling. I was trying to improve my life. I was trying to get unstuck. So what did I have to lose? So I kept going. And I'll tell you, after those first few visits, boy, I had to stay awake for the 15-minute drive home. And I'd get home and I'd crash into a hard nap. And I kept going and again, wasn't noticing much of anything until driving away from one of her appointments about 2 months in. And about 8 visits that we'd had. And I realized I was listening to a song on the radio and I was actually smiling. And it hit me. And all of a sudden I could see, here I was 2 months later than where I started with this energy healer. And as I sat there driving, I remember stopping at one of the stoplights, a grocery store I went to is right over there. And I'm realizing, hey, I'm not as depressed. I'm not as anxious. I'm not as angry. I'm not as frustrated. I actually feel a little happy. This is kind of cool. And at that moment of that realization, I knew that what was going on in this energy healing was helping me. And it's also at the time that I began to understand why I was stuck in my life, why I was stuck in negative patterns, pissing people off, leading myself towards divorce, business failure, stupid money decisions, why my health was bad with my digestion, headaches, migraines, knee pain, foot pain, brain fog like you would not believe. And it was because of all of this crap that my functional nutritionist and my energy healer were clearing out of me. So while my functional nutritionist was helping me clear out viruses, bacteria, parasites out of my body, I'm really good at picking up parasites, so I had some of those to clear out. And then restoring my organ system function, restoring my brain, my liver, my kidneys, my muscles, my digestion, of course. The energy healer was doing something incredibly profound for me. And that is that she was helping me release the emotional baggage from my life. My parents divorced when I was a little kid, and that divorce absolutely rocked my world. It blew my family apart. I can remember at the time not knowing what divorce meant. My sisters are bawling, my parents are crying, and I had to ask, what does divorce mean? And being told, your dad is moving out. And that's when I lost it. And then my parents not being there, me not being able to communicate to my parents because they weren't available, feeling incredibly alone and isolated. And those few pivotal moments and how I reacted to them set up all of this pain, this anger, everything that I was holding on, these judgments against my parents, this anger at my parents. I hated my parents, disrespected them, didn't see the value in them. And as a result, I didn't see value in adults. So I went inside myself and I went alone, went on living that way. And what does that create? Sure, I turned into an adult with a job. I went to college, somehow got my doctorate through all that pain and making it through. But that divorce and that had been years earlier, then at some point, decades earlier. But I still carried all of that pain, all of that judgment. I carried that inside me, in the back of my mind, in my subconscious, stored in my body, especially in my digestion and my liver. All that anger in my liver, all that resentment. I carried that with me, and I let that be a guiding principle in my life. I let it make me be suspicious of people, to shut people out, to be distant from people, to be in the middle of a situation and make a negative choice for myself because those old feelings, those old emotions, that old baggage was the predominant voice driving things. That's how my past, my baggage held me back. I was still living from the judgment and the pain of my past. And that is where most of us are today. You know, it's the exception. I have a patient come in, it's like their childhood was great, their life was great. They don't have a lot of emotional baggage from their past. Man, it is so beautiful working with those people because they require just a little bit of care and their health just blossoms. They do so well. Most of us have something in our life that hurt us, something that knocked us down, and we're still carrying that pain. And for those of you who've done a lot of work around your pain, a lot of therapy, a lot of counseling, I hear this all the time when I tell my patients, wow, we trace this back to when you were a child. And they're like, well, wait a minute, I worked on that. Surely I'm done with it, right? Most of the time, the answer is no. where I can see these things energetically, nutritionally, is you're still carrying these patterns of that. And the way that they show up is, where do you have a recurrent health issue? Where are you stuck in your life? Right there. See, when you let those stay with you and you let those keep driving and periodically speaking up in your life, you will have pain, you will have limitation. You'll be frustrated and you're going to wonder why. Because when my divorce was going on, all I knew was the feelings that we both had in the moment, but I couldn't see why I had those feelings. I couldn't see that I was so distant and so unavailable because back there were all the feelings from my childhood. I couldn't see those things, and the way I saw that were coming through and making this. You can't see that connection from your baggage of your past. And that's the difficulty. You just see where you are at right now at this moment, where you're frustrated, where you're stuck, where your health is just driving you nuts because you can't get past that thing. Where you're frustrated in life, you can't get that promotion, you can't get this video out. I've had patients where you can't write that book, you just self-sabotage. But then when you go in and you start releasing that pain from the past, even if you can't see it, you go, you know what? Maybe I need a functional nutritionist. Maybe I need an energy healer. And so you go and you find one and you start getting care, and then you see, wait a minute, something released. And then over here, my feelings changed. My behavior changed. Okay, so as I started to get my functional nutrition care, as I started to get my energy healing care, then all of a sudden, like I told you, I started to feel happier. I started to feel lighter. This tension in my gut that had been with me, this tension in my whole body, that started to soften. And as it started to release, I could see more clearly, oh my gosh, I was choosing to still be angry at my parents, to still be disappointed in them. I was still holding all of those same feelings from when I was a 5-year-old little child sitting on the shag carpet getting told my parents were getting a divorce. Here I am 30 years old carrying that and letting that rule my day, letting that shape and rule my life and disrupt everything. And here's the key. They didn't do it to me. Sure, they weren't available. They were not quite the parents that I wanted to have. I can say that. And I can say it with love. But I'm the one that chose to hang on to that pain. I'm the one that chose to continue beating myself with it and giving myself the pain and the limitation that it caused. When you can see that connection, it brings forth, do I react to this or do I respond to it? I reacted. I reacted with anger, frustration, and I carried that through forever. Then when I started to see that connection, that what I was carrying, that reaction, that pain was giving me pain and difficulty in my life, wasn't helping me grow, wasn't helping me prosper, wasn't helping me become a better doctor, become a better healer, to be there to help people, to, most importantly, live the life that I wanted to live, to feel good inside myself like I wanted to feel. So I realized I get to choose how to respond to this. Reaction is something happens to you. Let's say you get hit in a car accident, you get rear-ended, and you can blow up and be angry at the other person. That's a reaction. Now, response, you get rear-ended and you go, okay, am I okay? My passenger's all right. Good. Okay. Let me go back. The person behind me that hit me, are they okay? All right. The accident's happened. Are they okay? All right. They're okay. All right. Now, how are we going to respond to this? Let's start exchanging some situations. Let's start exchanging the insurance information. Let's start getting witness reports around here. Let's file the police report. If that person's being belligerent, let's just step back. Let's not get into it with them, because I am responding to this situation in an appropriate way. I'm taking down their license plate. You get what I'm saying? Okay? When you are responding, you're responding from a higher energy place. That is a higher energy place that helps you grow, helps you heal, helps you prosper. When I started to see those things start to happen for me is when I realized my brakes are off. I'm no longer being held back, because areas where I would lash out or something and it would limit me and hold me back, I suddenly stopped the lashing out. And I started to see I get to choose how to handle this situation, and I want to handle it differently. I'm no longer as anxious or depressed, so I'm not going to handle it from that perspective. And then positive things started happening in my world. People started to notice and comment that I wasn't as negative. I wasn't as, as one group that kicked me out of, I wasn't as annoying to be around. I wasn't as negative to have around. It's an absolute shift in your life. And that's where I feel that I have lived two lives. I lived my life in my anger and frustration and anxiety and depression. And now I am in my new life where I continue to grow and heal and prosper. My marriage is doing better. My relationship with my kids is doing better. My relationship with other people is doing better. I can be in a moment and have a great time. I can be here with you sharing these thoughts, speaking to you, hoping that this hits you in the right place to help you. Whereas before I couldn't do that. And it feels good. So where you're limited, where you're shut down, know that that is where you can heal. Okay? And so I know you thought, hopefully at least you thought, where am I limited in life? Where am I limited in health? In one of those areas, you can think about that. And I want you to do that right now. Think about whatever that is that's your priority thing for you right now. And I want you to feel it. So maybe it's, you can't get that promotion. Maybe it's that your digestion is horrible. Whatever it is, I want you to focus on it right now. I don't want you to focus on how it feels. I want you to just think about it. And I like to close my eyes and look down. And so get in touch with that right now. And as you do that, notice how it feels in your body. Maybe you feel tension. Maybe you feel cramping in your digestion or in your gut. Maybe you feel your blood pressure or your anger kind of coming up with it. Whatever it is, just notice that. But don't go with those feelings. Don't let it take you away. Now, what I want you to do as you focus on it is look behind it, so to speak. Are there any feelings? Are there any emotions? Are there any memories? Is there a knowingness maybe that you get when you sit with it? Maybe you suddenly feel sad. Maybe a memory comes flooding in from childhood. Quite a bit of the time, you may not get anything. But sit with that. Look at it. Be with it. Not the emotions, not the feelings of it. Just be with that limitation, however it is for you. And if you can identify with that feeling, or you sense something from your past in behind it, know that that is right where you need to go to release, to be able to unlock that issue for you, whether it's in your life or whether it's in your health. You see, those blocks, those health issues, they are your body's way of holding up a mirror, holding up a sign, alerting you to the fact that you've got an issue here that you need to handle. That this issue is big enough to create your life problem or to create your health problem. And right there's your opportunity for healing. And so, as you sit with that, if you don't get anything right away, keep coming back to it. Okay? Just keep coming back. And what you're doing then is you're telling your body, hey, I'm going to listen to you in a new way. I'm going to listen to, why are you creating this health problem, body? Why do I have this recurrent pattern, this limitation in my life that I desperately want to get rid of. Can you tell me why? And you're telling your body that you're going to listen to it. So maybe you're not tuned in enough, and that's not a judgment thing at all. Most of my patients can't touch into it at first. It's one of the things that I help them with as we work through these. But keep coming back, letting your body know, hey, I'm listening to you. What are you going to tell me? What are you going to show me? And then whatever it shows you, that's where you go and do your healing. And so how do you do the healing then? Some people get great results with meditation. Some people can journal around these things. For myself, I had tried all those things and I needed a separate person to do it. I needed an energy healer. So what's an energy healer? Now, energy medicine is that we carry these imprints from our past, from our family. And once I understood how they were showing up with my depression, my anxiety, my anger, my frustration, my digestion issues, my migraines, blah, 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 you know it. That imprint is stored somewhere in my body, right? Well, an energy healer can see you energetically. They can see those patterns in there. It's just another sense like sight, hearing, taste, touch. They can see those patterns and they can go in and help you release them. So it's like when I am working with my clients and I see those patterns in them, like the person I just got off with, it's so much anxiety in there. And I could see this lonely child, and the images I got was curled up in a ball, just buzzing with anxiety. And I could see that pattern through their body physically at this moment as an adult playing out into their anxiety. And so energy healing, by seeing that pattern, we can go in and help release those things. And then once they're released from you, your body no longer has that story running through you. So then it's less likely to make the anxiety. It's less likely to create that health issue that you want to get rid of. It's less likely to hold you back in your life and limit you. It's likely to completely flip your life around. Like my previous life of my anxiety, my depression, my anger, completely flipped it around to now this positive growth. I cannot believe the beautiful family I have that I had always dreamed about, that I have. And that's how your life flips when you clear these things. So my recommendation is find an energy healer. Find a functional nutritionist. Now, this care can get expensive. And so find them, though. Find someone to work with who can help you through these things. Okay, shameless plug time here. I have my healing space. Yeah, link is down below, but it's drsteveshealingspace.com. And in there, I set this up because energy work is draining for me. And the intensity of the issues that a lot of us have is pretty intense also. So I set this up because I wanted to give my patients extra support during the week because, my gosh, you have so much stuff coming at you in your day, right? You have so much stress, so much worry, so many responsibilities to stay on top of. The world is set up to tear you down. There's so much judgment from, am I pretty enough? Do I look good enough? Am I strong enough? Am I buff enough? Am I earning enough? Do I drive the right car? Do I live in the right house? Do I wear the right clothes? There's all these messages that are negative, that do not reinforce you. So I created my healing space as a place of healing and as a place of imbuing you with something positive once a week. And so it's on Wednesdays and it's in the afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific time is when I hold them. And we do a group energy healing session. And this sometimes is focused on very specific topics. Like we've gone through and we've worked on feelings. We've worked on the spinal cord and nervous system. We've worked through specific organs. We've worked through specific feelings and emotions and memories and past. And many times it's just energy healing. It's just giving you and restoring something positive to you. And what most of my patients report feeling is they feel calmer, more relaxed. They just feel better, less stress, less anxiety. And yeah, so shameless plug, that's there for you if you can't find a one-on-one energy healer for yourself. And before you ask, I'm sorry my practice is closed to new clients. I'm full up with all my just regular people that have been with me for years that just stick with me. Um, I do have a VIP level of care that has a couple of spaces available at the moment. And so if that's really expensive, but it's incredibly deep and profound work. And so you can get a hold of me if you are interested in that, since I do have a couple spaces at this time. But when you go to work on these things, I know what you're going to see because I've worked with so many of my patients and taken them through this, that it's such a cool and profound healing that happens, and it's permanent. It just lasts, and then you continue. Like for me, for example, so much better than where I used to be. But as you heal, then you find new layers of healing. So I still have difficulty with closeness. Again, what I did, the way I reacted to my childhood was I withdrew. And so closeness is still a difficult thing. So that's one that I'm working on right now, because I recognize that as I get closer to my wife, to my kids, to people around me, that I have more joy and happiness in my life. And I know my health is better. I know my life, my business, everything is better. I can help my patients better. I get rewarded by getting better results with them because I am then closer to the people that are near and dear to me. So healing is this journey. And yeah, I just so wish it for you because of the transformation that can happen, and watching it happen in my patients. I know it can happen for you. You got to find the right healer for you at the right time. So with that, thank you. Yeah, take care. I'll talk to you soon.